Well, who the heck are you then, dear sis?
I'm Deborah Walton from Chaplaincy Plus City Lights.
And tell me what you do. What's a chaplain? What's a commercial chaplain do?
We work with professional people in Birmingham City Centre, providing encouragement, equipping Christians and resourcing them to be disciples of Jesus in their workplace.
Right.
And I work with the under 30s.
Is the church relevant to 21st century Birmingham?
The church is relevant, but Jesus is probably more relevant, and his teaching is relevant too.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that Jesus wants us to be disciples where we are. He wants us to be showing his love and his light to our colleagues and the people around us and the people that we are in contact with day to day.
Do you think the church is resourcing people in the workplace in a good way, in the best way that they can?
I think some churches are doing a really good job. I think other churches sometimes want to use people to work inside church and to further the things which church are doing, and maybe don't always see Christians at work as missionaries.
So do you think we've got a problem in being more church-centric rather than world-centric?
I think in some places we have, yes.
How can we break that?
I think we can break that by looking at the needs around us, by seeing the gifts and skills that people in our congregations have got, and seeing where God has already called those people, and then looking at resourcing and equipping people where they are.
How? Because most of our ministers never had a proper job in their life.
Well, I think we can do this by engaging with people in our congregations, finding out what they actually do at work, finding out who their colleagues are, and setting up real support networks of prayer. Some people work with people that have maybe never been prayed for in their lives, and for churches to see that as part of their mission field would be really exciting, and I'm sure it would completely change the experience of people in a city like Birmingham.
But how can we honestly do this when the government won't even allow sometimes the show of religious symbols, never mind open prayer and stuff like that? I mean, is it a waste of time? Because surely political correctness has thrapped us down anyway.
Well, there are some workplaces where people can't hold a Christian prayer meeting, but there are plenty of coffee shops and other venues in city centres where people can do that. There are many workplaces where people can get permission to hold religious meetings, particularly firms which have a really good sort of multi-faith approach to things. Many Muslims will need prayer rooms, so large organisations have less difficulty for Christians to host prayer meetings and workplace groups. And I think that Christians need to be looking at some of those challenges as well, and seeing how we can be disciples today in the workplace.
The Word of God in the workplace. Is the Bible dead? Is it relevant?
It's certainly relevant, and we will often email people who are linked in with us with Bible verses and with prayers and with things that will encourage them, and certainly we know that many Christian workplace groups will meet to study the Bible as well as to pray.
You've seen the riots on the streets, etc. What do you think is one of the biggest problems with broken Britain? Do you think Britain's broken?
I think that there are some real issues, and I think there are many people who feel excluded from society. I think that the economic crisis is having a significant impact on people. I think sadly many Christians feel vulnerable and isolated and anxious, and that fellowship and working together as Christians across denominations is going to be one of the big solutions. I think God's got a heart for our cities. He's got a heart for people at work, and he doesn't like to see things that are broken. You know, we're called to repair broken walls, and we're called to pray for the prosperity of our cities.
Thinking about prosperity and calling in Christians and the workplace, here's a little bit of a provocative question. I know you're armed, ready to answer it. I believe God has called me to be a captain of industry, but I can't even get a job at McDonald's. Has God got it wrong?
No, if God's called you, he'll find the way for you, and you need to be clear about your calling, and you need to see that for many people, if you look at the Bible, they had long times of preparation. You know, Moses had a passion and a desire to see his people released. He took that into his own hands, but when he listened to God, God prepared him, and it took 40 years. So you just need to be faithful in the way you prepare yourself, and in the small things that you have, and then he'll entrust bigger things to you.
Thank you very much for this interview, and God bless you.